What is up, though, Lions fans? We are back. The Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And, man, we got some things that we got to get into today. There's breaking news. So let's start with that breaking news. Antoine Randall has defected. Former KGB operative. No, I'm just playing. Former Detroit Lions wide receivers coach has gone to join Ben Johnson as the assistant head coach of the Chicago Bears. Obviously, it's a title that he did not have in Detroit. The assistant head coach was Scotty Montgomery, who was also the Detroit Lions running backs coach, position that he still holds today. It also splashes water on the theory that nobody liked Ben Johnson. Uh, now, that wasn't the theory. That wasn't the working theory. We knew that, obviously, if you're in the organization for, I don't know, what was he, 8 years or something of that nature? I'm not sure. Um, Obviously, he was the offensive coordinator for 3 years. He was here with Fatty Matty Patty, Quinn Trisha. He was retained by Dan Campbell when he came over here because obviously they were on the staff together in Miami. So I feel like he was in the organization for 8 years. So you're not in an organization for 8 years, Ben Johnson, even though you're still Osama bin Johnson forever. We're not taking it lightly on you. We still have to play the Bears um, twice a year. So you don't stay in an organization for 8 years and not have any friends, not have any connections within the organization. He was not able to poach Hank Fraley. Um, that is also the news of the day. Hank Fraley has been promoted to the run game coordinator, also retaining his post as the offensive line coach. Hank Fraley takes over for Terrell Williams, who was the run game coordinator last season in his lone season with the Detroit Lions. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Antoine Randall, it sucks that you've left and you've gone to the Bears because now you get to work with Rome Odunze, who is not great, right? He's not JMO. Um, Now, Coach Randall and JMO are still going to have the close relationship, just like JMO still had his close relationship with Teddy Bridgewater when he was out of the building and he was down there in Florida coaching high school football. So, the mentorship is still going to be there. The relationships are genuine between these people. Um, there's not going to be, now the drop off is going to be that he's not going to see JMO every day. He's not going to, be in the building. He's not going to have an office there where JMO could just pop in and talk to him when he's having, you know, whatever issues or concerns, or he just wants somebody to talk to. Now, he doesn't need a father figure. Obviously, JMO's father is heavily invested in his life, and he's always around. So, but just to have a coach that you have a connection with is pretty invaluable. I know this personally. I had a coach when I was playing football that was heavily invested in my life, even though I lived with my father and everything. But he would come and, take me to school early in the morning when we had our, preschool workouts and all these things. Um, it was just a great relationship. So I understand what JMO is losing and how it may affect his development. I don't know. But it sucks to have Antoine Randall walk out of the building and go over to Chicago. But the reality of this business, and we are learning this as Lions fans because we didn't know this. Well, we didn't experience this before because the team wasn't good. Coaches leave. Coaches get poached. When a coach leaves to become a head coach, the first thing he's going to do is try to poach coaches that were, he had a relationship with. You know, if you've been working there that long and Antoine Randall is your assistant or is your receivers coach and you're the offensive coordinator, you know what kind of man, what kind of coach, what kind of culture fit, what kind of presence your wide receivers coach is. You know this. He's in your meetings. You guys are hanging out together in the building, outside of the building. So it is what it is. Antoine Randall is a great coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. Obviously, he played quarterback at University of Indiana, quarterback and a wide receiver. So, wide receiver with the Pittsburgh Steelers, won a ring. So, sucks, man. Sucks. We're going to miss Coach Randall. Can I have the same energy that I had with Ben Johnson, man? I don't know, man. I think the Ben Johnson thing was not only the Chicago Bears, but it was just, basically you walked out of the post-game locker room and accepted the job is the way that it felt. So it is what it is. As I said, Antoine Randall is in Chicago now. He is the ops. He is the enemy. But it is what it is. So this division it was already competitive, but I feel like the Ben Johnson thing, the Randall thing, the connection between the Bears and the Lions now, it's just made this thing a lot more competitive. It's added a lot more fire to the rivalries. It's added a different dynamic to the NFC North. That, again, none of the other divisions have. So I feel like it's going to be a very, very competitive division once again. I think it's going to be the most competitive division in the league next season. So, strap up, strap in. You got to get ready for the roller coaster ride of next season and what it's going to be, especially when it comes to the two matchups against the Bears. So, hey, it is what it is. Go ahead, smash that like button. Make sure you share. I know you're already subscribed. Let me take my own advice because, again, I always forget to do this. I always forget to share the stream. Just a fan, you're gonna have to tell me to share the stream, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reinstate you in your role as daily reminder because, what's on my mind is having a good show and, reporting all the news and giving my opinion and all these things. So, yeah, I think you have to start reminding me again, bro. All right. So I just shared the stream. Now we can go ahead and welcome everybody in the chat. Let's see. Where is my chat? Okay, that's not my chat. All right, there we go. There we go with the chat. All right. So Just a Fan is here. TaylorMade Media is here. Tactical Spork is here. Phil is here. See, Mr. Morale is here. All right, so we got the regulars here, and it will grow and continue to grow, and people will continue to come in and out. But when you come in, before you leave out, make sure you smash the like button. So let's see what we got going on in the chat. We will check what you have to say about this news and about anything else. All right, so Just a Fan says MCP cooks, that's for sure. Gives facts and stats and so much more. Click that like and share for Chef. Don't be like a KC ref. All right, I appreciate the little ditty there. What up, though, Tactical Sport? Just a Fan says, I don't care. Randall L was on the grassy knoll anyway. I get the reference. Coach O gets a promotion, says Taylor Made Media. Now he'll work with Caleb and Odunze. That's what I have to say about that. Bears want to be us so bad, says Phil. I concur. Mr. Morale 313 says, what up, though? No doubt. Taylor Made Media says, no doubt. The NFC North is really going to be competitive. Doughboy Steve, what up, though? All right. So we are gathered, dearly beloved. We are gathered here today to talk to you about. All right. Keep in mind the super chat goal I will be doing. I think we are at 6, so we gotta hit 14 more. Then I'll be doing a live mock draft. I will have a guest on when I do the live mock draft. I've got some things some ideas to bounce off of you guys a little bit later on. I haven't started memberships for my channel yet because I want to give you guys something, not just. So here's my idea, and y'all can bounce this off of each other and things as we go along. So my idea, I think it was Tactical Sport. He said something about having a fantasy football league, and I know it was kind of a joke. Or was it Mr. Morale that said this? But I know it was kind of a joke, and it was a shot at someone else. But what I was thinking is having a $10 tier, and I don't know, starting it maybe after the Super Bowl, and then we will collect those $10, whoever's in the $10 tier and whoever wants to be in the league. And then at the end of the fantasy football season next season, whoever wins that league championship will receive like a third or half of the membership proceeds that you guys pay for every single month. So I think that would be a cool thing. I don't know. If you guys want to do that, let me know, and we'll get cracking on it. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Morale, he did. He switched up on us. All right. So Brad Holmes had his press conference yesterday, and I wasn't live, so I didn't have reactions to it. But the biggest thing that I want to say before I dissect the things that he said and point out some of the highlights. I know you guys have seen it before, and you've heard other people's opinions about it, but I haven't given mine. So Brad Holmes said that the hardest personnel acquisition that he had to be involved with was trying to get an edge rusher in here. And by trying to get an edge rusher in here, he learned that I don't think he learned that, but he realized more so that it takes two to tango. We all have our favorite prospects. We all have our favorite players that we want to be on the Detroit Lions. We want them to join our team. And sometimes as fans, we just think, hey, man, just go get that guy. Did he even pick up the phone for Max Crosby? Yeah, he picked up the phone for Max Crosby. But the thing that he said was, we have an early trade deadline. So when you call these teams, they're like, look, we still got 2.5 more months of football left. So what happens if I trade you one of these guys? Because he was like, forget the stars. The stars are generally, you're not even available. But you got, maybe your third and fourth guy that you're looking at. And he's like, so what happens if I trade a guy to you and then we got another guy goes down? Then what do we do at that position? And he was like, well, I didn't expect you to think about it so logically. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted you to go ahead and make the trade. I can give you an example of that just from this season. Trey Hendrickson was the example. earlier in the season, I don't remember what the Bengals record was, but I'm like, man, if they go, what is it? What did I look at it as? Like 1-5, 1-6. I was like, we should be rooting for them to go 1-6, because if they do that, then their playoff hopes are over, right? No, they didn't do that. They rattled off 8 wins, right? They rattled off 8 wins. They went on an 8-game winning streak to close the season, and to have very, very slim playoff hopes. And Trey Hendrickson was a big part of that 8-game winning streak. So we're rooting for bad records. We're rooting for, whatever the case may be, because a guy is he's on an expiring contract, or he's looking for a deal and they didn't want to give him the deal, and we're like, all right, well, this billionaire is going to be smart about it, saying, all right, well, if I'm not going to give him a deal, he's going to walk out of here next year or at the end of this season for nothing. But, the Brown family didn't feel that was something they cared about. Obviously, there was still playoff contention that they were in the position. They needed some things to happen, which ultimately didn't happen, but they were still there. So I say all that to say that you can't just want a player to be on your team, and when that player doesn't get to your team, then you get upset about it. Now, the thing that I do understand getting upset about is when you want that player to be on your team and then he didn't get on your team, but he did go to another team. He was traded to another team, and he's traded to another team for a 5th rounder or whatever the case may be. And you're like, damn, they couldn't have put in a 5th rounder for that guy. They couldn't have given up this, that, and the third thing. But then at the same time, they may just not have wanted to deal with the Lions. They may not have wanted to take the Lions 5th rounder, because the other team that gave you the 5th rounder is a higher pick, But if it's the Chiefs, then you're like, damn it, everybody deals with the Chiefs. So I don't know. It's a weird situation, but he did talk about how difficult it was to acquire an edge rusher from another team. He said Big Z was pretty much the only one that was of that caliber and that was available. The Browns are going to Brown, and they do the things that they do. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. So Justin Fan says GM of a team is the harder job, in my opinion. Well, harder than coaching, I guess, because you're acquiring all the talent. Mr. Morale says we act like it's Madden sometimes. That, hey, 100%. I mean, we playing Madden is like turn off the trade veto. Like, you're going to accept this trade, okay? I'm going to give you a 50 ranked overall player for damn Max Crosby, and you're going to take it. It ain't that way in the real world. TaylorMade says, here's the crazy part. Brad is explaining basic supply and demand after his club goes 15-2. Right. Tactical Sports says, generally, to get a star, you're going to need that star to request a trade or become a cap casualty 100%. Max Crosby, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this until the situation in Las Vegas is resolved, but Max Crosby is going to be either a cap casualty or he is going to be a person that requests a trade. He's doing a lot of talking, a lot of double speak, double talk, talking out the side of his neck, they could say. A little bit of subtext and subtweeting going on with Max Crosby. So we'll keep our eye on that situation. He wants to come home. He wants to be in the locker room with Dan Campbell. He wants to know what that's like. But then again, they did just hire Pete Carroll over there. And Pete Carroll, last time I checked, is a damn good coach. He's won the Super Bowl. He's played against Tom Brady, or coached against Tom Brady, I should say. So yeah, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. All right, so let's get to some of the highlights of his press conference. Let's see. Where should we start? All right. So on what the Lions are looking for in their new coordinators, um, and then after we do this, I'll get to the Casey Rogers and the Larry Foote type situations. But I just want to get through this first. All right. So Holmes made it clear the new additions will have to adapt to the Lions more than they'll be making their own imprint upon the team. That is important because I've said something similar, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I've said that there is a system, okay? This is why I don't believe – I'm not going to discount what Ben Johnson did here. I'm not going to say that it's easy to replace Ben Johnson and he was nothing. And no, I'm not going to go that route. But I do believe because this offense is a system – it is going to be less difficult to replace the OC than it was the DC. And I wish Paul Thomas was here because then he could hear what I'm saying about this. Aaron Glenn worked wonders because he didn't have the pieces. Yes, Aaron Glenn is stubborn with the man coverage scheme or whatever. He blitzed a lot. Listen, if you are a teacher, right, and you go into a classroom and your school is not providing you with textbooks, well, you got to do what you got to do. You got to come up with the material on your own, on the fly, and you got to get to work. That was what Aaron Glenn was doing a lot of the time while he was here. Like, for the longest time, the only piece he had was Aidan Hutchinson, okay? And then you get an Alex Anzalone, and then you get a Malcolm Rodriguez, who's a sixth-round rookie, and, you're not getting the top-tier pieces. So, anyway, this is what he had to say. He said, I think he's going to have to be adaptable. He's going to have to be smart. He's going to have to be able to adjust. Make sure that he's putting the players in the best position to succeed. And so those are some of the characteristics that I think are a good culture fit for a coach here. I think that our identity kind of shows. So most coaches that choose to take a position here, same as a player, I think that they know what they're about to walk into in terms of how we play and what our standards are. Right? So shape and mold yourself to what we do here, not to what you did elsewhere. Somewhere else in that press conference, somebody asked him about, types of players, right? He said, because different coordinators, they might like we were talking about, Aaron Glenn, like the big, not the most athletic defensive ends, even though he did have Hutch, right? Hutch was everything. He's a speed guy. He's a power guy. He's quick. He's strong, powerful. Hutch is all around. He can do all of it. But you're talking about the big guys versus the smaller, the big, powerful edge defenders versus the smaller, faster, quicker speed rushers. So that was a similar answer that Brad Holmes gave. He was just like, look, when we go out and we scout a player for the Detroit Lions, linebacker, defensive end, or whatever, he said, this guy is a Detroit Lion. No, he said he's been around so many different schemes. Sometimes you call the linebackers a Mac instead of a Mike, or, a Marvin, whatever, a Buck, or this, that, and the third thing. He was like, no, we're not scouting a guy to be that for this scheme or that scheme. He said, we're scouting a guy to be a Detroit Lion. We have a style of play that we want. Okay? Just think about the defensive line coaches that have come in here. They all talk about violence. They all talk about being violent with the hands or being violent at the point of attack and wanting to bring back the violence to this defensive line. Terrell Williams talked about the same thing, just as John Scott Jr. did before him. Now, John Scott Jr. was dismissed, and Terrell Williams was hired to be the defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots. So I can guarantee you that the next guy, Casey Rogers, is going to come in here talking about violence, right? If Casey Rogers doesn't ever mention violence, then I'm going to be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that that's what he's going to be talking about, and that's what he's going to be talking about as a philosophy, because when they had these interactions, when they had these interviews to hire people, they let them know this is part of our style. We want to be violent on the defensive line. We want to be violent with our hands. We want to be violent at the point of attack. Can you teach that? Can you coach that? Is that your philosophy? Are you in line with, are you okay with that? Right? So these are principles that the Detroit Lions have. Okay? So that just gives credence to what Brad is saying here. The standard is the standard. To quote Mike Tomlin, the standard is the standard. What we expect out of our coaches, what we expect out of our players is the same. It doesn't matter where you went to school. It doesn't matter where you played the year before. If you were on another team, you come here, this is the way that we expect you to do it. Okay, this is the same reason that AG talked about when they asked him, how are you able to adapt these players, these new players coming in off the practice squad, off the street, whatever, so quickly? It's because it's not the playbook that we're trying to teach them. If we can get them to understand the way that we play, our style, our standard very quickly, then we can let them go. And, they have limited plays, whatever, but they understand how they're expected to play. And that's it. So that's the coordinators, that's the players, everyone. All right. On losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, he says, obviously we were prepared to lose those guys. Those guys were great coaches, and just call it what it is. We were lucky to have both of them this year, Holmes stated. But I know that Dan has been preparing for it, and I have the full faith and trust in Dan to make sure that we're going to have the right people in place in those spots. And he's had to encounter that before, not at the coordinator level, but other position coaches, and it's always worked out. So it'll be good. So no, it hasn't always worked out. We did have to cycle through some people. We had to cycle through Anthony Lynn to get Ben Johnson. We had to cycle through Aubrey Pleasant and Dre Bly to get Deshae Townsend. We had to cycle through, I think it was Todd Wash left. So then we had John Scott Jr. and then to get to Terrell Williams. And now because he's gone, we're going to have to go someone else, Casey Rogers, and see what he does and how long he stays here. So no, it hasn't always been quick, fast, and in a hurry. One guy leaves and then we just get the next hire right away. But I do think that because of this process that Dan Campbell has had to go through, obviously you get better at identifying the people that are going to fit here in this building, and you expect him to be better at it. Now, obviously there will be a cause for concern if it doesn't change, right? If you're like, okay, now Casey Rogers isn't the guy, so we got to get another guy next year, and so on and so forth. You feel what I'm saying? I think Casey Rogers will do just fine, and we're going to get to him, like I said, in a little bit. Let's see. Not a fan of windows of opportunity. So he says it's probably relative of what you would say. Is there a window? Is there a window that you need to stay in? I think that we've done a good job of doing our best we can to avoid windows, and I understand that contracts come up when contracts come up and stuff happens, but we feel so good about our young core and young nucleus of players. Holmes said, we feel really good about our quarterback and how he's playing and him having a, let's call it an MVP caliber season this year. So I just think that all of the pieces are in place that I don't really feel walls closing in or windows. And again, we kind of make an effort to avoid those kinds of things, the GM concluded. All right. As far as windows, I see what he's saying, and from a fan standpoint, I understand what we're saying. So we're thinking the windows of opportunity start to close when you start having to pay guys and you start having to, lose guys. You get cap casualties, you get all these things. Um, and then on the flip side, what he's saying is we're not going out and just throwing a bag at everybody that comes walking by. You know, we're not Mike Tyson back in the day. He sees a girl that he likes, he buys her a car. You know, it's like we're not doing that. So the reason that we're avoiding windows is because we are building through the draft. I think we would all agree Brad Holmes is very good at drafting. So this isn't something that we fall into. We don't fall into overreaching and overpaying guys. And then you can look at previous regimes and say he's right to a certain extent, but obviously to the extent that we haven't won a Super Bowl, we haven't been to a Super Bowl. Is he 100% correct about this? This is where we have to take the wait and see approach. Like, is his way of building through the draft and valuing picks going to be the thing that gets us a Super Bowl? Or do you just have to catch lightning in a bottle and just go get this guy, damn the salary cap, and we'll try to make it work for this 1 or 2 seasons that we have all these people, and then that would be what you would call a window. So I don't know. It's helped us out so far. It's helped us to get to where we've gone. I mean, a 15-2 season is, while it's a failure because we didn't win a Super Bowl, it's really nothing to sneeze at. The division was a historic division. We had to buckle down and get through the entire season just to clinch the division, which really is it. It's generally when that happens, like that happened with the Buccaneers and the Falcons, but their division was so bad, it was like nobody wanted to win it. That's why it had to come down to the last week of the season, not because it was just so good and people weren't losing. And it just came down to 2-14 and 2 teams duking it out. One got duked a little bit harder than the other. Well, a lot harder. I mean, it was a BTA type of situation. It was a BTA event. Okay, never forget, Vikings, y'all came to Detroit and got y'all asses beat and did not get that division. Now, neither one of us won a playoff game. That's neither here nor there. But y'all won it. Y'all lost it because y'all were demoralized and got figured out. We lost because we had 5 turnovers and didn't cause any. So it's a different situation. All right, let me get to the chat, see what y'all are saying, because I know y'all got opinions before, because I got a couple more things from the press conference that I will highlight and get into. Let's see. Pete Carroll's 85 years old. Yeah, I don't think he's 85. It seems to me like the OC comes from within. Mr. Morale 313. I think so as well. We talked about Tanner Engstrand. Shout out to you once again for sending me that video. Easy has mentioned that video twice now in 2 days. So he shouted me out yesterday on the heavyweights for inspiring him to watch that video and to basically dive further into Tanner Engstrand. So shout out to you, Mr. Morale 313, for sending it to me, and it's getting a little bit of buzz. Taylor May says, good point, DP. The DC's philosophy has to be complementary with the HC's vision. Should a coach adjust to the players he has or demand the players to play his scheme even when they can't? Who's responsible when failure happens? Then HC and DC, in my opinion. So, I mean, just a fan, like, what we're talking about here is, like Brad Holmes said, you know, at another point in his press conference, which was, I don't know any, like, when you're down your first 5 pass rushers, I don't know any team that has a a sixth, seventh, eighth pass rusher who is a difference maker, right? There wouldn't be difference makers if they were 6, 7, and 8. I mean, they wouldn't. Let me rephrase that. They wouldn't be 6, 7, and 8 if they were difference makers. Okay, so I get what you're saying, but at one point it's just like, okay, how vanilla are you gonna make your scheme? How vanilla are you gonna make your defense? And how much are you gonna not try to do things just because everybody's hurt? At that point, you're just waving the white flag because you're like, look, I'm going to adapt to you, which is you are all fringe NFL players. You have been, and then Brad Holmes also talked about this, poaching 3 guys from a practice squad in one day is something that him and his personnel department had never done before. He was like, you usually get like 1 guy because you're invested in these people for 3 weeks once you poach them. So poaching 3 players in one day was foreign territory. So this is what I'm saying. It's like you're a bunch of practice squad players. Now I got to adjust my scheme to you and try nothing because you're on the practice squad for a reason, because you're not good. Like, you're not good enough to be on an active roster at the NFL level. So now I need to go ahead and say my defense, full of practice squad players, is going to just be as vanilla as possible. We're just going to throw 11 guys out there and hope somebody trips and falls over them. Or you're going to go, hey, this is our play style. We are aggressive. We are fast to the ball. We're this, that, and the third thing, and you're expected to do this. I think what happens with those players is it empowers those players, and you get more out of them. Look at the way Kendall Vildor plays when he gets into the games. Is he looking like Jeff Okudah reincarnated? Actually, no. Right? To be a practice squad guy that's we got him from the Bears. And to be that guy, Kendall Vildor plays pretty damn well. I think that Kendall Vildor often plays above what you think that he should be playing, but then also he does catch criticism because of the level of player that he is, and he's in the game. So when you see a deficiency, you're upset about it. So no, just a fan, I would say that the way that AG handled it, and he tried to mask the deficiencies of the defense and mask some of the injuries, was a very high level, difficult job that he did. So I don't really have too many criticisms over him. Now, if you've given me against, like, you know, because there are dysfunctional organizations, right? If you're a dysfunctional organization and your GM is just like, ooh, I love this guy. I don't care about what the coach says, because we know this happens, right? This happens in the NFL. You have the GM that's trying to be the star of the show instead of working collaboratively with the head coach. This is why, you know, our situation with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell is a special situation. It's special, and it should be the norm, right? So if you've got a guy going, hey, look, coach, listen, I scouted this guy. I'm the smartest guy in the room. I like Quinn Trisha, you know, Dan Quinn or Brad Quinn. What was his name? Bob Quinn, sorry. I don't know. I don't need to know his name. It's not worth knowing. All right. You know, Bob Quinn, smartest guy in the room. You know, apparently Bob Quinn was the one that wanted Jeff Okudah, and Matt Patricia wanted somebody else. But Bob Quinn's like, I'm the GM, and I'm giving you the player that I want, and you make it work. So my point was, if I have a scheme or a style of play that I want to play, and then you give me a bunch of players that don't fit that scheme, then, you know, that's a dysfunction. Is it the player, the coach, and the players that, you know, don't fit? Or, well, I shouldn't have had those players anyway. But that's a different situation. That's not the situation we were in. All right. That LB description sounds like Malcolm Rodriguez, 100%. How's our favorite Goff-phobic I'm good, man. I'm good. Window of opportunity, man. The Lions are a cash cow, 100%. There are quite a few edges in the draft from what I've seen lately. I don't know any of them though. Yeah, we're gonna have to dive into stuff, man, because I think most of the Lions creators, maybe Dosa Dion, you know, because he's a sicko. He loves, scouting and stuff. Maybe he's had his eye on the draft um, for this entire time. But, most of us, man, we didn't care about the draft. We were going 15-2. We were getting the first seed. We were getting the playoff bye. We were on our way back to the NFC Championship game, and we were going to the Super Bowl, and that's all we cared about. So, we again, for those of us who want to be SOL, well, it was a far cry from what we used to be. We're now in a different tax bracket. Okay, we're eating steak and caviar now when we used to be eating government cheese, government cheese and spam. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're gonna have to lock into it. Championship week is coming up, or was it championship Sunday is coming up? I don't know, bro. I'm gonna watch the games, but I'm not gonna enjoy it. I'll tell you that much. I'm just gonna be salty, sitting up there eating popcorn or something like. Boo! Boo this man! Boo! All right. What up, though, Salty Pork Chops? TM Martin Esquire is here. What up, though? She says Pete Carroll is 73. He has a 3-year contract with an option for a 1-year extension with the Raiders. Facts. Who's going to be the DC? Donkey Kong, we'll talk about that in a bit because I know they did interview Larry Foote, but I don't know how far that's going to go. What up, though, TM Martin? No, Robert Saleh, that's one thing that I did want to say. Robert Saleh is going back to San Francisco. He is off the table. So Dennis Allen is possible. Also, Shep is possible. Who knows? How many times did a Brad Holmes defensive setup make you say, wow, I didn't see that coming? His defenses really confuse offenses. Only a few games by my observation. Well, we only had a few games of people who were starting caliber defensive players. Listen, our lone survivor from the defensive line was DJ Reader. After Anzalone went out and Aleem McNeil went out, our entire front seven had 2 players remaining, which was DJ Reader and Jack Campbell. What are we expecting? I know AQM made improvements. At one point, we had Quan Alexander and Jamal Adams off the street and off the practice squad starting for us in the defense. This is the situation that we had. And not making excuses, but you can't expect the same level of production out of people who are not actually starting caliber players in the NFL, or people that used to be starting caliber players 5 years ago, but they are now sitting on someone's practice squad. Like, this is why on the depth chart, you have the best people starting. Then after that, you have the second best person in that position on the team. If you're looking at Madden ratings, okay, you might have an 85 overall corner, but then the next corner in the, behind him is 76. Okay? Like, so now once you do that, And then you start going even further down the depth chart. You're getting into the 50 overalls and the 45 overalls. Like, what do you think a Trevor Nowatzki is? What do you think a Pat O'Connor is? I know Taylor may love to hear me say that, but what do you think these players are that are not starters and they're depth pieces? And you just get further and further. The further you go down something, usually the worse that it gets. So the further you go down the depth chart, the worse that it gets. That's the point. Let's see. Raiders and Brady got a better hire in Pete Carroll than that HC hired by the Bears. I mean, 100% Pete Carroll has a track record as a head coach. Won a Super Bowl, been to a couple. Matt wanted Derek Brown. Matt, yeah, there you go. Fatty Matty Patty wanted Derek Brown instead of Jeff O'Hell-Nakuda. This was supposed to be our weekend OL side. Yes, you are correct. Most of the D-line players from Ole Miss and Michigan. Yeah, I've been hearing about that. Different tax bracket indeed. Let's see. All that white label food. I'm not watching any of them games. I'm not into the piss. I gotta watch them. I have to. Like I have to watch them. Larry Foote, interesting. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Larry Foote. Zeke Turner. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Okay, thank you, because that was a name that I forgot. Ezekiel Turner, the bane of my existence. When you got Ezekiel Turner out there, when you're like, hey, Ezekiel, go ahead. We're playing the Bills. They like to use their running backs out of the backfield. Would you mind covering one? Oh, yeah, I got you, coach. All right, Ezekiel, that was your man. Didn't you see him coming out of the backfield? Yeah, I saw him. But what were you doing? I don't know, coach. All right, next time he comes out, all right, same play. All right, cover him. No? Okay. So, like... Can I interest you in covering him, Ezekiel? Nah, I'm good. I can't do that, coach. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, coach. I can't cover a running back coming out of the backfield. I can't watch for a tight end chipping me as he runs into his route to stop me from covering. I can't do any of that. My eyes don't work that way, coach. I'm not a starter. I am a practice squad player. And a special teams player. But just a fan, you're talking about his entire tenure. Go back and look. This was the first year he had the dogs. It's the first year. This was the first year that we had a complete defense from the secondary or from the defensive line back to the secondary. Defensive line. Let's see who we had this year. DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, Marcus Davenport, Aidan Hutchinson, dogs across the board. Okay, then we had Alexander Zaloni and Jack Campbell. Okay, dogs over there. Then we had a promising rookie in Terrion. We had Amik. We had Carlton Davis. Okay, Carlton Davis again. Brad Holmes really wants to re-sign him. Okay, and I've been saying that they should re-sign him since the Texans game. Okay, then in the back, you had Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. When you had all of those players healthy, we were top five. We were Dylon, because we spit hot fire. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use hashtag. That's all I'm saying. Right? Like in his tenure, he's had, Hutch, then Aleem, and then you had a Levi who was always hurt. Then you had a Pascal who was always hurt. Then you started off with Jeff O'Hell-Nakuda, right? Garbage, trash. Okay, that's who you had to work with. Like you had Cam Sutton Come on, man. You had Cam Sutton and Kendall Vildor as your starting cornerbacks. Then you had Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs. Then you had Cam Sutton and Kendall Vildor. What are you supposed to do with a Cam Sutton being your number one corner? And down on the line, you have Aidan Hutchinson and just Aleem McNeil. And then you have who? And we still went to the NFC Championship game. So I don't like I get that people don't like AG, but I'm just saying you gotta look at who he had. We just don't know who this dude has. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Morales says that's why he was a special teams player. Dago Spork says, I know a guy. All right, Justin fan, we'll see you. Says, I knew a guy who played high school football with Larry Foote. Never got to meet him, though. I followed him throughout his career at Michigan and the NFL. I wonder how he would fare as a DC. We'll get into it. But all I want to say again about the whole AG stuff, and I know Justin fan is gone, but maybe he'll catch this. I just want to say this. You cannot say filth, flarn, filth in front of people, okay? And expect the people to be able to go ahead and field a defense that's going to get you any results. You know, the jello pudding, the jar, okay? Anyway, Matt Eberflus, and the Lions still went 15-2. Correct. Matt Eberflus, he does do a good job as a defensive coordinator. I wouldn't be opposed. Well, thank you, Will Murray. Thank you. Jalen Hurts with a knee bracelet versus Commanders Sunday. If Commanders dub, Lions fans will be devastated. Yeah, I won't be happy about that because their defense isn't good either. All right. We do have an article about the interview of Larry Foote, so I'll go ahead and read that article since we're talking about Larry Foote and defensive coordinator. So Lions are interviewing Larry Foote for the defensive coordinator opening. This article is from Lions Wire at usatoday.com. Says the Lions rated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for their new defensive line coach, hiring Casey Rogers to replace Terrell Williams. Now the Lions are looking at another Buccaneers coach to perhaps take over as Detroit's new defensive coordinator. Per multiple sources, the Lions are interviewing Buccaneers co-defensive coordinator, linebackers coach Larry Foote, co-defensive coordinator, linebackers coach Larry Foote as a possible replacement for Aaron Glenn to run the Detroit defense. I'm just putting a pin in that. Foote is a familiar name for Lions fans, having played in Detroit in 2009 as a starting linebacker. He is a Detroit native who played collegiately at Michigan before embarking on a 13-year NFL career. He's been in coaching since he retired, first with the Arizona Cardinals and then the last 6 seasons in Tampa Bay. He's been a co-coordinator with Rodgers for the last 3 years. The familiarity with the Lions and the city of Detroit, not to mention years working with Rodgers, make Foote a very intriguing external candidate to replace Glenn. Okay, so with all that being said, I'm just going to give it an initial reaction, an initial maybe overreaction. Please bring Larry Foote on. I think he's spent 6 years learning from Todd Bowles. How long has Todd Bowles been over there? Todd Bowles came in as the defensive coordinator. So yeah, now obviously, Todd Bowles, the head coach, but it's his defense. So I think Larry Foote is very adept at being multiple. You do have a defensive line coach now who is comfortable with calling plays on the defense in Casey Rogers. We'll get to the Casey Rogers article in a second. You've got, yeah, they're comfortable with being multiple. They're comfortable with being exotic. They're comfortable with, giving a lot of different looks and things of this nature. We have smart players. We have players that can adapt. So I think that you can bring that exotic defense, the exotic blitzing scheme, coupled with the aggressiveness with which we play. I think it would be a match made in heaven, especially with everyone back healthy. And this is what we were just saying before I went into Cosby. You know what I'm saying? We did not have a healthy defense. We didn't have the players and the Okay. Anyway, some people say when I get like excited and stuff, like a lot of people will say like I sound like Bill Cosby, and that's not before the things that he did, that was cool. That was a compliment because it's like I just unconsciously go into Cosby. I just want to let everybody know I don't have pills. I don't put them in drinks. None of that. So, no. But I would not be opposed to Larry Foote. I do want to see, just being loyal, I do want to see what Shep can do. But being a co-defensive coordinator with the guy that's already come over to coach your defensive line, now you get to continue to work with him. There's the familiarity there. So any intricacies in their scheme, they're teaching it like they've got a full, when I said the school wasn't giving you any textbooks, no, they have a full cupboard of teaching supplies because they've been together for 6 years. So yes, I would really like that hire. You do have Dennis Allen out there who obviously has defensive coordinating experience and head coaching experience. I don't know if he wasn't a great head coach. I mean, you had Derek Carr as your quarterback. How much can you do with that guy? You know what I mean? So I don't know. Let's see. Oh, God. Salty pork chops. I almost read that out loud. I'm glad I read the whole thing first. Straight out of Pershing High, Larry Foote. Popeye's Chicken collaborating with Don Julio Tequila leading up to the Super Bowl. Chicken-flavored drinks or tequila-flavored chicken. I think it would probably be tequila-flavored chicken. I don't think you get chicken-flavored drinks. Why not put the rivalry aside? You have NFL talent in a college football program, and it worked against everyone except Michigan. Michigan's DC left for the NFL last year. The difference is Michigan's DC came from the NFL, right? Now, if this guy has never been a defensive coordinator in the NFL, okay, now you look at Jeff Hafley, who, oh my God, he's so great over there in Packerland. Look what we did to the Packers. So, does it work? Everyone loved Jeff Hafley, but were the Packers a great defense? They had a crybaby at Xavier McKinney who was, he was second in the league in interceptions. But, I mean, did anybody fear the Packers defense? Don't know. So, I didn't. Todd Bowles came through the Jets. Yeah, I know he came through the Jets, but he was over there. And my man AG, he and my man AG have a lot in common. I think Todd Bowles, if I'm being honest with you, is a better defensive coordinator than AG. I think AG would be a better head coach, but that's just because we had him in the building and we know. Bill Cosby. um, Apparently, Randall L. went to the Bears. Yeah, I covered that at the top of the show. That's what I opened with. Seth Ryan. What up, Malik Mills? Should be wide receiver coach. And Rex Ryan, DC. I mean, Rex Ryan at the DC, I would not be opposed to. And Larry Foote comes out of Coach T's program. Ex-American dad, Cosby. I'm not too sure if I would want a rookie DC and a rookie OC. One of them, I think, should be a veteran. I'm not sure how a DC that couldn't beat a team without a QB would fare in the NFL. Good point. Those are also facts. But I also don't think that was on the DC. I think that was on the head coach trying to be something he was not. Because, I mean, what was the final score of the game? 13-10 or something like that? It wasn't high scoring. Yes, T.M. Martin, I opened up with that. Randall L. did leave to the Bears to become the assistant head coach along with Osama bin Johnson. What up, though, Malik Willis? Or Mills? I said Malik Willis. All right. So now let's go. I have the Casey Rogers article. So let me just pull that one up, and we'll look at that one. All right. The Lions are hiring Casey Rogers as their new DL coach. This also comes from Lions Wire at USAtoday.com. The Detroit Lions have found their man to be the new defensive line coach. Casey Rogers will take over the Detroit defensive front in place of Terrell Williams, who left the Lions to become the defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots. Rogers has been the defensive line coach and run game coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 55-year-old Rogers has been coaching defense, primarily defensive line, for over 30 years, beginning in the college ranks. He's been in the NFL since the 2003 season, working with the Cowboys, Dolphins, Jets, and Buccaneers. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler was the first to officially report the news. So he says Bucs run game coordinator and / defensive line Casey Rogers is expected to join the Lions as defensive line coach per sources. Detroit is replacing Terrell Williams, who became Patriots DC. Rogers has been with Todd Bowles since 2015. So, again, run game coordinator. Again, I've got to get to that. A lot of stuff that's packed into this show. Rogers is from the Bill Parcells coaching tree. So is Dan Campbell. Rogers and Lions head coach Dan Campbell were on the same Dolphins staff from 2010 through 2014, with Campbell coaching tight ends and Rogers running the defensive line. Rogers does have coordinator experience with the Jets from 2015 to 2018, serving under Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles. The Lions coordinator position remains open. Rogers has also interviewed for the DL coaching vacancy with the Green Bay Packers this week. It's unclear if Rogers will take on a run game coordinator role as well as his DL coaching duties with the Lions. He will not, because that is now Hank Fraley's job. Listen, for me personally, if we're talking about defensive alone, anybody that has learned under Todd Bowles, anybody that was good enough to be Todd Bowles' defensive coordinator, and then to be retained by Todd Bowles once he goes to the Buccaneers, game recognized game. We may not think that Todd Bowles is a great head coach or whatever the case may be. I do know that the Buccaneers are consistently in the playoff hunt, albeit in a very terrible division, but they're consistently there. And as I said, defensively, we're talking about Todd Bowles. So he's a great defensive mind. So I would definitely not. I know Casey Rogers has been hired already, but I definitely have high hopes for him This is a guy that Dan Campbell knows and is familiar with. I mean, they coached together for 4 years. He is a former player. So I like the hire, man. I like it. Obviously, when you talk about assistant, like position coaches, I don't know everybody, but I think this was a good hire, man. So not opposed to Casey Rogers at all in the least bit. Just welcome to Detroit. Hopefully he will come in and endear himself to the players just like Terrell Williams did. I think he will. It sucks to lose Terrell Williams, but he's now a defensive coordinator, and he wasn't that in Detroit. Never heard of Casey Rogers. I've heard of him. Yep. I liked Randall L. He knew how to coach JMO too. Yep. We touched on all that. Casey Rogers may be able to be the man in a rookie DC's ear. Rogers has been a DC before. And that's why I was talking about Larry Foote. I mean, he was a defensive coordinator. He was a co-defensive coordinator. And they worked together. You know what I mean? So I think the dynamic there is, they bounce ideas off of each other. They'll sit there and game plan with each other like they were doing before. They were both co-defensive coordinators. So I would take it, bro. Casey Rogers, good pick. He's Todd Bowles' guy. Yes. I also think Casey Rogers probably was the guy who put out Larry Foote's name as a possible candidate. That could have worked. Hope they get Dennis Allen. Can we hire Calvin Johnson to be our wideout coach? If Calvin's interested in coaching, yeah. I know that he helped out the Raiders wide receivers for a bit when he was still on the outs with Detroit. So, dark horse candidate. I definitely would love to see Megatron in the building, on the sideline. Can't miss him. 6'5" coach. You know what I mean? That would be a great. I think that would be a good hire. Actually, I'm not even gonna lie to you. So as far as the run game coordinator, I think I mentioned this before. Hank Fraley has been promoted to run game coordinator, as he will be retaining his title as the offensive line coach. This is a retention that I think was essential. Brad Holmes talked about the identity of our team and with it being the offensive line and things of that nature. So I think it was very, very important to retain Hank Fraley. This is a guy who Frank Ragnow has said, I've never played a game without Hank Fraley, and I don't intend to. So I think if Hank Fraley leaves and Ragnow's a man of his word, he retires this year, right? He's not coming back next year, next season. We got to draft a center or sign a center to replace him. Now that Hank Fraley has returned, we don't have to do that. We don't have to worry about losing Frank Ragnow. We know Frank Ragnow is playing on 9 toes, and he's been solid to great for his entire career. I think with Giovanni Manu in there developing, Brad Holmes mentioned him and Christian Mahogany in his press conference, and he was like, it was night and day between them. The difference is Christian Mahogany came in OTAs, and he was like, this isn't too big for this guy. He's very comfortable and all these things. And we see what happened after missing training camp with mono and just being behind everyone else. He comes in, and in his first start, he's just moving people around. He's being nasty. He's being a dirtbag. He's being a mauler. So he's being a part of those Detroit people movers. So he's probably going to be solidified as a starter here very soon, if not next year. We don't know what's happening with Kevin Zeitler yet. We know that he wants to play football. But Brad Holmes did also say in his press conference that you never know what's happening with players and their camp, right? So it takes two to tango. Just like it takes two to tango when you're trying to trade from another team, it takes two to tango when you've got players who need to re-sign contracts or to extend themselves or whatever on your team. So I think Zeitler comes back, but I don't know. Brad Holmes said they haven't had any intense conversations yet with the players. But for the development, because now Manu you're looking to play him next year. He was inactive every game this season. Next season, you're looking to play him. I don't know how big his role is going to be. I don't know if he's going to fill the Dan Skipper role, but he's supposed to be transitioning into guard or tackle. I mean, he's 6'8". I would think that he would play tackle because most guards aren't that. But Philly did do that. They had an experiment with Mekhi Becton. They moved him into guard from tackle. He's also 6'8", and we see what their offensive line looks like. So it's a possibility that the Detroit Lions could borrow from that and do that as well. But I'm glad Hank Fraley is back. I was really worried about him leaving because he's the offensive line coach, and we think of our offensive line as, if not number one in the league, number two, So with him being a huge part of that, I was really, really worried about him taking an offensive coordinator job in Seattle, or I didn't think that he was going to go to the Bears. I felt like Dan wouldn't have allowed that to happen. But with him now being the run game coordinator, I think it's a perfect fit. And the reason I think it's a perfect fit is because, Ben Johnson's scheme wasn't easy, right? So now with whatever you do, we talked about Tanner Engstrand being the offensive coordinator. Again, shout out to Mr. Morale, because we know from the podcast he was on during COVID when he was the DC Defenders offensive coordinator, he loves to run the football. So we're going to be running the football. We're going to be using terminology that's the same. We're going to be using verbiage that's the same. We're going to be using concepts that are the same. But I think Tanner Engstrand, if he is announced as the offensive coordinator, he will put his own spin on things. I think the run game is going to look a little bit different just based on kind of some of the plays that we run. I don't think that it's going to be like profoundly different because it worked. If our running game, hear me out, because I know we had, with Ben Johnson, we did have a great offense. They were top five. Dylan. Okay? Our running game did not look like Philadelphia's running game. Saquon Barkley led the league in touchdowns of 10 yards or more where he was not touched, where the defense did not touch him. They did not affect his body physically, pause. They didn't wrinkle a jersey. They didn't crinkle a jersey. They didn't cause the jersey to tug and pull in a certain direction. They weren't able to untie a shoelace. They weren't able to touch him. And he had 8 to 10 plus yard touchdowns without being touched. Jahmyr Gibbs did not have that. And that's not because of Jahmyr Gibbs. So if our running game were to look like that, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Ben Steeler watching Ben Steeler. I see what you did there. Watching every Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes move. Graham Glasgow could move to center if he would have left. I mean, he could do that, but I'm glad that Frank ain't leaving. Because, I mean, Graham Glasgow's not Frank. Tactical Sports says it was very important to keep Hank, being that he had two of our linemen state that they want Hank to be the coach. Yeah. And just nobody stated that they wanted Ben Johnson. I'm just saying. Osama Ben Johnson. Did you think that his scheme sounded like the scheme we run already? I think his scheme sounded a little bit more run heavy. You know? I think his scheme sounded a little bit more run heavy. If we could be somewhere between what we were already running and what Philly runs, I mean, obviously we don't have the same type of quarterback, so our run fits are going to be a little bit different, and you know, RPO is not going to be a large part of our offense. He did talk about RPOs and things like that, but I think for the running game, I just wanted to move closer to what Philly does because of what I mentioned about imagine, and I said this before, imagine if you put Jahmyr Gibbs in the scheme that Saquon Barkley is. That man has almost 3,000 yards rushing this season. Jay Cruising, what up though? Said almost forgot about Kangaroo Chef. We could play Easy at center. Easy's a big dude, but I don't know if he's gonna be the center for the Detroit Lions. Yeah. So that's pretty much it on that. So now we've entered our chat portion of the show. Let's see if we have. All right. So for people asking questions about minority coaches leaving, they have to be head coaches to get picks. So if you have a minority coach and he leaves for anything other than being a head coach, then you're not going to get the compensation. Listening to the way he said he wanted to utilize the middle of the field made me think he may have been the brainchild behind a lot of our plays. I mean, do you think? I don't know. It's possible, right? Because that was from 2020. That was from the COVID year. So it's not like it was from this year. I don't know, man. It's possible. But because he's comfortable with the scheme, that's why I believe that he will be the offensive coordinator. I mean, if he is going to be the offensive coordinator, go ahead and announce it, man. Stop having us wait. we want to know, man. We want to know what we can expect. But yes, I mean, I just want Jahmyr to go off. That's all. You know. I hope he learns from some of the things. I hope he puts in a big man sneak, you know, a thick sneak. You know what I'm saying? A tush push with a Sam LaPorta or a Brock Wright. You know, like just, you know, stop turning around on 4th and inches. Don't turn around. Don't turn your back, quarterback. Don't turn your back to the offensive and defensive line. Go straight ahead. Um, they have also been grooming him to be the OC for 2 years now. Also true. That's why they need to just announce it. I ain't saying it was all him, but I like the pick for OC. You know what? I'm excited to see what spin he puts on it because obviously he's comfortable with it. And this is the thing that I'm saying. Like, did you observe Ben Johnson making play calling decisions that made you scratch your head and then you go, when I get the job, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. It's always, whenever somebody teaches you how to do anything, you as a person have your own personal spin that you put on it. It's not, you know what I mean? Joik Bell can run the OC. Does Joik, who could be my cousin, does he have offensive coordinator experience? Could be an announcement on Monday. I hope so. I hope that there's an announcement on Monday because at least, steal away some of the thunder of whoever the hell is going to the Super Bowl because it ain't going to be us. Because he can drink, he can run the offense. I don't know what that has to do. I think you want a sober coach of any kind. That's not winning, Joik. It's not. I just, you know what? Our offense has been dynamic, but there have been these lulls that we get into, and I just hope that the play calling would be fresh and shout out to them because they did fix the third quarter woes that we had last year, which were just astronomical. I feel like let's fix starting out the game with a 3 and out, and I think we'll be on our way. Needed a giggle. So what do you guys think about the idea? Like I said, I don't play fantasy football, so I wouldn't be in the league. I would just be hosting the league. I don't have time to be playing fantasy football. I got too much other stuff going on. But yeah, I mean that would be a way to give back from the memberships. So for those of you that weren't here, what I was proposing is the reason that I haven't set up memberships for the channel is because I don't just want people like if you pay to support, that's cool. But once we start getting into the tiers of memberships, I can't commit to doing like film review and everything. I know someone else was doing that. I don't know if it continued throughout the year. I don't know if it was consistent with that person in mind. It probably wasn't consistent. But yeah, I just want to be able to give you guys stuff. I do have a line on some merch or some memorabilia and everything, but I just don't know how reliable that line is. So, yeah. So just to be able to give back some of the money to the people that put it in, that was my idea. Mr. Morale 313 confirms that it wasn't. How long did it last? How many reviews were there? No, I know it was a joke, Tactical Sport, but that was what it got me thinking. It's like, okay, to be able to give away some prize money that's been put in with the people that have been members and things of this nature. And then at that point, it's you're not paying to play. You know what I mean? But it's just like some of the proceeds will come back from that pot. You know what I'm saying? About 4 made me downgrade my membership. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to say, okay, this membership is $10 a month, and then, like, I can give you guys $1 a month memberships just to be supporters of the channel or whatever. But like, if I say I've got a higher tier, $10 a month, and what are you getting? You know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to give you guys stuff. That's what I'm saying. If you have any other ideas for, a higher tier of membership, it's like, all right, for sure, we can take some of the money. Maybe it'll be, if I have a bunch of higher tier members, be like, okay, once a month, because now you're paying me. So let's say I have 50, gold tier members. Then I can say, all right, so that's 50 people paying $10 a month. That's $500 a month. Maybe every month I can give away a jersey. Like, we'll buy a jersey, boom, and we'll just give it away to the person. But I would actually like pay for it and send it, and be honest with the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have this type of thing be coming from me, and then I can't keep it up. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, Taylor May says, I got you. I get you. You don't want to overcommit. Yeah, because I want to, I want to be fair to people, especially when people are paying their money for things. I don't, I'm not into scamming people. More recently downgraded the requirements. Yeah, well, at least there's that. I mean, is there any hope of redemption? Probably not, but you know, if certain people were in Australia, they would just give you thousands of chance to be redeemed, or to be what do they call it? Why am I forgetting the name? Rehabilitated. But yeah, like, if you guys have ideas, man, just throw them in the Discord. Like, have some brainstorms, have some thoughts, because stuff that you guys like. Nah, but it was a try. I get you. Sometimes people's conscience eats at them just a little bit, and they have a crack, a break. They step away from their character, and and then it goes right back to what it is. Go next time you guys are in one of Derek's live streams, ask him about the I'm a Bum merch. Can we get F oh hell no state merch? Yeah, I'm sure we could do that. That wouldn't be a problem at all. That wouldn't be a problem at all. I do have a merch store on Shopify. I let it go because I got tired of paying them. And the sales weren't consistent enough to keep paying them, monthly. But I could open it back up, and that way I have distribution and can send it to people, and I have I have like print on demand services. I've got one in the States that's out of LA. I've got one here. Um, so they could print out the merch and send it and send it out. Give me two of them. Uh, yes, buy one for Salty. I was gonna say. uh, I'm not gonna put the actual word on there, but oh hell no state would be very prominent. Um, I have to see, like, does YouTube have a particular merch store, or do you have to, if you connect a merch store that you have to the YouTube and sell through there? But I think I have to get to to sell merch from YouTube. Obviously, I think you have to have like 10,000 subscribers, so I don't think I would sell merch from YouTube, but I would have it linked to whatever the merch store was. Um, the Motor City Cats logo with the camera. Um, I'm actually gonna redo my logo. Actually, I just kind of threw that together haphazardly. This is the second logo that I had. Um, it's funny. I've been working on other people's logos so much I didn't even do my own. I mean, I did it, but I didn't do it the way that I could do better with it. Yeah, you have to connect it. Um, but I think the option only happens when you have like 5 to 10,000 subscribers. I don't think you can sell merch at the 1,000 situation. Have Jeff Okuda with an upside down smile. Wasn't that the way his smile was all the time? But Easy posted the when Dan Campbell came in, and I guess the players came in to meet AG. Um, and AG was in front of the room talking about winning and all this stuff. And that dude was sitting there in the crowd. I was like, this bum ass. um, Easy's my favorite hippo. Easy's a cool dude, man. Easy's a cool dude. Shout out to Easy, man. Easy is a person that always would encourage me. Um, when I would started talking about going live, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wait until such and such. He was like, man, just start going live. When I was looking for somebody to podcast with or whatever, he was just like, just do it yourself, man. He was like, because you don't know if you're going to find someone who's going to be as devoted to it or as you are, you know what I'm saying? So I had someone who was supposed to, we were going to try it out, to see if he wanted to be like a co-host, and he was just, and I'm not talking about the thing that the latest situation. I'm talking about before that, when I had my own show before. But it was just like, I talked to the dude and I was like, all right, you want to like come on the show? We'll talk about this was leading up to the draft. I was like, so we'll talk about some prospects, yada yada yada. I got, okay, cool. Um, we set out the time to do it and everything, and leading up to the show, he hits me like, I think maybe like 5 minutes before the show, or maybe it was Yeah, I think it was like a little bit before the show, and was like, "Oh, we're gonna do it." I was like, "Bro, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I don't. I've been trying to contact you for 2 days to figure out how we're gonna talk about these things." And then I looked at his podcast and I was like, okay, he's got like kids crying in the background, and I was just like, all right, we're not gonna do that. But yeah, shout out to Easy, man. He's like, I started watching the heavyweights a few years ago and just reached out to him and just started talking to him, and he was talking back, and now you see him on my show on Wednesdays. How many more coaches do you think Osama bin Johnson steals from us? Honestly, I don't think he has anybody left to steal. I think this was his last trump card. I mean, who are we losing? We're not losing anybody on the defensive side. Now, he doesn't have a defensive coordinator. So if we were to hire Dennis Allen, then he might poach Shep as the defensive coordinator, or Deshae, or I think it'll probably be Shep, because he would be more he knows Shep more. Shep's been there for a long time. So that's one thing to take a look at whenever we hire our defensive coordinator. If it's not Shep, then look, if they haven't hired one yet, obviously. That's why I say Easy can play center. Okay, so what happened with Easy and him was basically it was a situation on Twitter where somebody was trying to like multiply pressures to say that Goff had gotten pressured more than he actually did. And Easy came in and was like, that's not how pressures work. This is how NFL pressures work, blah, blah, blah. Let me educate you. So then it was a back and forth, and then the dude tried to tell Easy that he didn't know ball. And that's when Easy, I think, came back with, how pressures are broken down in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. So then he deleted all the tweets and blocked them. And obviously, Easy wasn't the tweet deleter. Easy, good people, though a lot of you guys are. Yeah, most of us. There are a few that aren't. Hope Amon-Ra don't creep to the Bears after that extension expires. Amon-Ra not about to do that, bro. Did you ever get in touch with KG from Woodward? Bro, the thing is, I got in touch with KG a long time ago. He hit me up on Twitter. And it was something about during this time is when they were making people sign up for premium to be able to send DMs to people. And so I don't know what happened. I thought that we started a DM conversation. Maybe they wouldn't let him go any further or whatever. But next time Easy is on, if you guys remind me, obviously the super chat thing didn't work. I think Paul Thomas said that he did like drop a few super chats on the shows that KG was on, and KG didn't read them or something like this. But yeah, so just remind me to tell Easy to have KG hit me up, man. Been there, DP. If you work alone, you have greater opportunities to build relationships with the industry. You don't get that using SportsSpider. Well, it wasn't SportsSpider. It was, like I said, it was somebody else. But I mean, yeah, that was a situation, that I shouldn't have gotten myself into. I think I was just trying to grow too fast. That's all. So, But consistency and hard work is the best thing. You can't take shortcuts. So that's why I came back to a new channel and started it from scratch. I had another channel before. A lot of you know that, but like I think I said that when Easy was on, I was like, I just wanted to disassociate myself from anything that anyone could try to take any ownership of, or try to act like they did anything with the chef persona. And also because the channel that I started the chef channel on was originally a gaming channel, and then it went to a football channel, and then it went to a Lions channel. There was just too much change with it. So I was like, okay, let me just start from scratch and I'll build it that way. Salty ain't good. Amon-Ra seems tight with Caleb, and he was tight with who that just went there. I mean, I don't think that they have each other's phone numbers and everything, but it's just not. I don't think he wants to play in Chicago. I just don't think he wants to play in Chicago. Like, he's calling Ben Johnson a traitor, whether whether it's a joke or not, right? Amon-Ra ain't Equanimous. Equanimous can bounce around the entire NFC North and no one would care. But Amon-Ra is a star. He knows that he has a fan base. Like, he's not going to Chicago. I would be floored if he went to Chicago. Absolutely shocked. Spy Tech? Who's Spy Tech? So crazy. Did I get my chef merch yet? That did not happen. That did not happen. And there was a microphone and a mixer, and none of that happened. Shout out Blue Yeti, though. You know what I mean? Amon-Ra is just cool with anyone who can help make his show great. I'm not worried about him leaving. He knows who gave him a chance and who passed him by. Exactly. Makes sense. Amon-Ra and Caleb are from the SC Trojans. They didn't cross paths there, though, but they have that alumni thing. Why would anybody go to Chicago? They got some good pizza, you know? Didn't know EQ was a 7th round pick. Yeah, he was picked in the 7th round. No, Jay Cruson. He did call him a traitor on his podcast. Yeah, I mean, he was working through the emotions, and I think he just spoke the truth. He was just like, he's a traitor. Yeah, they're deep. It's good. It's super good, bro. There was, when I was in Qatar, they have this restaurant called Uno, and they serve Chicago deep dish pizza there. Bruh. I was like, bruh, gotta get it every time I go. I heard Chicago got a good nail salon. They probably do. And Caleb is making his appointments right now, or he's making his he's making he's putting it, making it part of his schedule. Yeah, bro, I just get fire designs, I'm like, man, hey, would you put a twinkle twinkle little star on this one? It started off as one nail, then it went to 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just the natural progression of things. When you start painting your nails, but what I'm talking about. Your sister know. Yeah, Amon-Ra started thinking about how things went down and realized he was the Reincarnation of Osama. Exactly. uh Uno's didn't know it was international. Yeah. I think it was Uno's Pizza. Let me check. Yep, that was it. Una Pizzeria and Grill. They had one in Qatar. Um, they had a lot of stuff in Qatar, bro. They had Cheesecake Factory, um, Outback Steakhouse. Now the funny thing is, right? Outback Steakhouse is an Australian restaurant started in America. They don't actually have an Outback Steakhouse in Chicago and in Australia. I was shocked by this. I'm like, so you telling me I was over there getting Alice Springs chicken and I'm coming over at like bloomin' onion. Bloomin' onion. I can't get a bloomin' onion over here. There's no such thing as a bloomin' onion in Australia. No, there's no bloomin' onions here. None. I felt duped. I felt betrayed. Um, Caleb's nail tech makes house calls. Uh, from the way he was talking, I don't know. I don't know. We should do live film review. Um, I mean, film review is hard to do on a computer because of the you drawing on the screen, and then the way that you gotta because you're gonna rewind and fast forward, and you know what I mean. It's hard to do live like that. So yeah, used to go to a couple in DC. Yeah, no, they're good though. I don't know why, but I felt like they knew the Chicago head coach was going to Chicago before it was announced. 100%. They knew it. You don't take a job that quickly and nobody knew. That's the thing. Like, that's why EQ was like, oh, so he lied to you. No, no, he didn't lie. He didn't know where he was. No, he knew where he was going. Bruh, you ain't taking it. You just lost in the divisional round after going 15-2, getting the number one seed and the bye, and didn't make it any further. And you accept the job the first day that you can accept it. Right? Now he could have accepted the job on Saturday night because he had people's phone numbers. He could have called them up and been like I said, post game locker room. You know what I'm saying? He got a text. He was like, that text was like 911. He was like, hold up. I'll be right back, fellas. Hello? You know what I'm saying? Hello, Kevin? Yeah, I'm coming. Expect me. You don't make a decision that fast if you didn't already have your mind made up. Outback Moscow Mule drink is the best, at least the one I ordered here. Outback really is mid. I mean, come on, the Bloomin' Onion is good. The Alice Springs chicken is fire. But I didn't really get a whole lot else. I had my favorites, and that was it. Never had Outback. I was told by an Australian that they thought Outback was mid for an Australian restaurant. I don't see this. Here's the thing. While you're here, I've never seen what you would call a restaurant that is Australian food. Right? Because I guess it's just so in Melbourne there's a lot of international food. There's a lot of kebabs, HSPs, like there's a lot of Turkish, there's a lot of obviously you got your pizza, you've got your Japanese food. What is Australian food? burgers and fries. I mean, you have fish and chips. Um, quiet as it's kept, though. Just like, if you're known for fish and chips, Australia's known for fish and chips. Philly is known for the cheesesteak. You go to Philly, you're disappointed when you get a cheesesteak. You're hella disappointed. You come to Australia, you get some fish and chips. Like, ain't no seasoning on the fish. Right? You got to sit up there and put your salt on. Like, it's not seasoned. I've never had fish and chips that I was happy with. Let me tell you that. I know Mark Brunell might become Jets OC. That would suck because Mark Brunell is the coach, is the quarterback's coach. Hold on. My wife just came out to tell me that the Outback is that it's Australian themed. She wanted to be very clear with that, and I'm like, I know it's themed, I know it's not, but it's supposed to be Australian food. But this is the thing I'm saying. What is Australian food? What is Australian cuisine? There is no actual cuisine. There's fish and chips. There's fish and chips. Okay, meat pies also. So yeah, you got your was it pepper steak pie and um your beef and cheese, like ground beef and cheese. Those are actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I had a meat pie yesterday when I was going to my barber. Um, Beef and cheese. It was good. Shrimp on the Barbie. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Shrimp on the Barbie is Australian. I have thrown some shrimp on the Barbie since I've been here. Not gonna lie to you. Um, Said they knew on that St. Brown Brothers podcast with Caleb. Yeah, when they did the whole catfish thing. Um, that's why what happened last Saturday was so killer. The fix was in, by the way, BJ and the Bears. Um, Fish and chips is good in the UK. I've never had good fish and chips, right? So I've had fish and chips in Australia and I've had it in Denmark. Denmark was terrible. Okay, the fish and chips in Denmark was like in a box and it was soggy and there was a bunch of oil in the bottom and it was also not seasoned. So I understand because if fish and chips comes from the UK, non-seasoned food is a specialty in the UK. It's not. They don't deal with a lot of seasoning. It's very bland. Um, it's like it's like potato salad with raisins in it. If you know, you know. Use the hashtag. A tactical sport guest said I've had a better cheesesteak from Charlie's than the one I got in Philadelphia. Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, the cheesesteak in Philadelphia. I had two of them from two different establishments that were recommended to me from a person that's from just outside of Philly. The first one I went, he took me to one in Philly, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this is a good one." I had to put salt on it on a cheesesteak. I was like, "This is," and it had cheese on it. Okay, so if y'all are realizing a theme with me, I like well seasoned food. Okay, I can't eat it if it ain't got no seasoning on it. That's what I thought Australian themed. Yeah, yeah. Because like I said, it's just fish and chips, shrimp on the barbie. Roux steaks. Again, I'm not eating kangaroo. All right. Kudos. It's just Dre cruising. Uh, cod. Yeah. Ooh, Vegemite is awful. Vegemite is disgusting. Vegemite tastes like you are eating salt paste. Oh, it's bad. Flex says also Pavlova. Do miss Coney Island from Detroit though. I get one every time I go back. You know what was good? And this is very random. But if you know, you know. Okay? Remember the hot dogs from Sam's Club? I'm I'm just saying. Them joints were good. I'm just saying, y'all feel me. I know if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I don't know. So you had to have a membership. It was like Costco, but said I ate at Outback once. Once, like I said, it was the blooming onion for me and the Alice Springs chicken. See, there you go. They're still banging. Sausage rolls are Australian, aren't they? I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's chiefly Australian. I mean, in the states you have what do they call pigs in a blanket? It's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so the sausage roll is not always a sausage. It's minced meat. Okay, there you go. So so what we're understanding here in Australia, they put a lot of meat into bread. Pause. It's a pastry. Okay, it's a pastry like filo pastry, which is bread. I mean, if we're being technical, it's bread. uh, don't go to Lafayette, Coney Island in Detroit. Headlines today about it shut down for rat problems. Ew, ew. Can't have that. I recently found out that the hot dogs that they sell at the cafe are not the hot dogs that they sell. Oh, isn't that just that's deceitful? That is deceitful. She's desperately trying to find something that's Australian. Uh, huh? No, we talked about Vegemite. Vegemite is disgusting. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I listen. I would not wish Vegemite on my worst enemy. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I would. I would. That's the second time they've been shut down for rats. Well, maybe they just shouldn't reopen. Uh, Still waiting to go to Drake Bell's Parlay Eatery in the D. It's this liquor store I used to go to on Chalmers and Outer Drive. Had the best cheese bread and pizza on the east side. Um, that's what's up. What's a good pierogi spot? Okay, the hot dogs that they sell at this cafe are specially made Nathan's hot dogs. Okay. All right, so yeah, they got you thinking that you about to get that when you buy them, and it's like you wonder why they don't taste like that. Now everybody's hungry. Oh man, probably have to go to Hamtramck for pierogi. You know what? Smelt, man. Like I said, I'm trying to come back next summer for training camp. Um, I definitely gotta head down to Dearborn and get some smelt. The food exchange. They got pierogies there. All right, so I have to go to Hamtramck. Oh, they have huge hamburgers. So what's your um what's the best filling for a pierogi that you guys would recommend? Oh, corned beef sandwiches. Yo. Oh man. How did I forget about corned beef sandwiches? Then again, Hamtramck is damn near Arab now. Is it like Dearborn? Fofos? Oh, guess what? And I have to remember to go to this place. I found a Jamaican restaurant here. It's called The Jerk. Let me see. Yeah, so I definitely need to go there and get some jerk chicken. Never had a pierogi before. Hamtramck called Bangladeshi community there. Okay, that's what's up. I don't deal with Bangladeshi food. It may be good going in, but the exit is a different story. The exit is a different story, and I'm not interested in that story. I don't like to tell that story. The next time I make oxtails in the instant pot, I think I'm gonna to try jerk ice. So now you just showing off. Now you just showing off. Hey, like I'm gonna combine two Jamaican foods. uh bread basket rules now for corned beef or Asian corned beef with those corned beef egg rolls. Oh my goodness, bro. Uh I don't think we have corned beef here. But a corned beef deli sandwich with a pickle in it. Oh, mm. Yeah, right. All right. They have a deli here in El Paso. The corned beef is okay. I also grab a corned beef sandwich every time I visit Detroit. Really, no corned beef joints in Melbourne. Um, no, I don't think so. Yeah, I think we have corned beef. You have to buy it at the grocery store. I think I'm gonna go get some. Who makes the best shawarma now? Bro, I can't even tell you. I lived in Qatar for 15 years, so I was eating shawarma like all the time. Shawarma. There's a few places here that do good shawarma. Thai food again. Thai food is like I mess with Thai food, but like you gotta give me the spice on the side because, as I said, might be good going in, but the other story is not one I like to tell. How many countries have I been to? Let me count them. Um, are we counting Canada as? I mean, it is a different country. I think we've all been there. Let's see: Canada, Jordan, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi, Oman, the Emirates, Kuwait, uh, Bahrain, Denmark, Sweden, Germany, um, Australia, Malaysia, Indonesia. I think that's it. Yeah, 15, 15 countries. Um, oh yeah, I got all the touch. I had an opportunity to go to Egypt. I just didn't go because it was during the Arab Spring, and I didn't want the stamp in my passport. so, so yeah, I didn't go there. Um, I want to go to Japan. Like Japan is that's on my list. Tactical sport. If you don't have a lot of money and you want to travel the world, you can either join the military or become an English teacher. That's the way it goes. There's a movie theater here where they bring the food to your seat and they have a pretty good shawarma. Yeah, we got one of those down the street. Ah, Morocco. Sorry, that's another. Yeah, 17. I forgot that I've been to Morocco. I left that one out. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Also New Zealand, so that's 17. Bro, I've been to so many countries, I'm forgetting places that I've been. That's wild. Bro, I'm trying to go to Japan and gain 10 pounds eating sushi. That's a lot of sushi. uh, yeah, I had like multiple times to go to Egypt. My wife is actually half Egyptian, so that was, but I've never gone. Some movie theaters that go too far, they have beds in the theater. Imagine trying to watch a movie and you hear somebody snoring next to you. I'm like, man, it's like, hey, it's like they're at, going to the itis. And how long would you be having your bed for this evening? Oh, also turkey. What the frick? I forgot about turkey. So that's 18. Oh my goodness. How does one forget about turkey? Uh, that's wild that I forgot about turkey. Part amazing. Oh yeah, I know amazing. Some of my people are from Fez, Morocco. My father held this belief for a very long time that we were originally Moroccan, based off of some false information that he got from one of his uncles. So that's when I learned about the amazing people. Also, uh, the Berbers, because he said basically we were like part Burberry pirate. Because there was supposed to be a guy that was a Burberry pirate that came on one of his ships. He got rich and came to America, and we were supposedly from him, but that didn't turn out to be true. Noble Drew Ali. uh, Jordan and Tujima. Yeah. Jordan was cool. I like Jordan. I did not like Palestine at all. Can you say that you've been to America after you've left America and then you went back? Yep, the Moors. Like he tried to, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. Uh, but I have done my 23andMe, and there's no Moroccan in there at all, not a trace. um, yeah, I know they're different. I'm saying also I learned about the people. Yes, so I know amazing from Maghreb, Berber's European term. Ah, okay. So you're saying they're the same, but it's just the terms. Okay, gotcha. My brother's married to a Moroccan. What up, though? Here's Johnny. Well, anytime you say that term, people are gonna say that you like they're gonna hear amazing because they don't know what you're talking about. So when you're like, I'm amazing, they'll be like, oh, you're amazing, cool. Uh, 14. All right, you catch it up. Forgot Jamaica and the British Virgin Islands. Went to them on vacation. Okay. So you're gonna be like me in a minute. Well, I'm at 18, so you do make good rugs for sure. For sure. So are you Moroccan on your father's side or your mother's side? Brother got the DNA test led back to Robin Hood of Wales, to be honest. Hey, I'm mostly Nigerian. It's like 50% Nigerian, 25% Sierra Leonean. Maternal, okay. I got you. So if y'all get some emails, it's not from me. Just know I'm not. I do a good Cosby, but I don't have no pills. I might be mostly Nigerian, but I don't send no princely emails. So just it didn't come from me. If you got them. Ah, okay. Tefna Masan. That's the TM. Okay. So you like Moroccan, Negro Peon. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. One time I was in a taxi in Qatar, right? And there's a different type of racism there. It goes like in through your ancestry and all this stuff. So this taxi driver asked me where I'm from. Um, Now before this, I had an encounter with a taxi driver, and he was like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from America," and he was like, "No, you're from Sudan," and I was like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "I'm from Pakistan." I was like, "No, you from India." He's like, "No, no." I was like, "Man, shut up and take me to where I'm trying to go." So next time this happens, this taxi driver asked me where I'm from. I was like, "I'm from Zamunda." I was like, "You know it?" "Yes, yes." I was like, "King Joffrey Joe, Prince Hakeem." "Yes, yes, I know Zamunda." I was like, "Yeah, okay." You lying ass. You don't know what I'm talking about. Uh Detroit versus everybody Robin Hood XL. I've got a German great grandfather. Does that count for anything? Hey, there you go. You Negro peeing too. um, I can tell y'all exactly what I got. Hold on. I can pull it up for you. Exactly. Let me see. I'll tell you my percentages and everything. Let's see. Where's my stuff? All right. So 51.4% Nigerian, 22.7% Sierra Leonean, and 25.9% five other ethnicities. Um, and those five other ethnicities are, don't know where to find them. Okay, here we go. So it says 9.8% Kenyan, and then from Europe. So I'm also Negropean. 10.7% Iberian, 2.8% Italian, 1.6% South Asian, and 1% Filipino, Indonesian, and Malay. So I guess I am also Negropean. Wunderbar. Um, them Uber drivers from Somalia and ish make me wonder sometimes. Somalis are good. Well, okay. There's a lot of cool Somalis, and there's a lot of Somalis that aren't cool. Many Eritrean cab drivers in Vegas and Arizona. Amon-Ra speaks German, French, and English. Um, I studied French for 3 years. I don't remember too much of it. Je voudrais un steak frites. That's how you order steak and fries at a French restaurant. I don't know why that one stuck into my mind. I can't tell you. Yeah, 1%. Like is it 1% Filipino, Indonesian, and Malay? That's all in the 1%. So I don't know how much of that 1% is Filipino. He said, welcome to the family, bro. No, steak frites. Palm frites, I remember this, but steak frites, steak and fries, palm frites sounds like apple fries. That's probably where I got my G6PD from. It's a rare European blood disorder. I can't eat black beans, among other things. Damn, that sucks. So you can't have like burritos with black beans in them. I really liked French until I had my third French teacher, and she was very boring. She just was just terrible. Was in Korea at Osan a year, learned a little lingo off base. I did not learn any when I was in Malaysia. I tried. Um yeah, I just no. All I learned was terima kasih, which is thank you. I studied Turkish for like 2 months, leading up to um, my move to Turkey, and the term that I mastered was "Do you speak English?" If they answered yes to that question, then we could continue our conversation. If they answered no, I picked up a dude before. He was Turkish, and we were talking, and he goes, in the car, okay? Pause. I don't pick up dudes, all right? It's part of driving Uber. Okay. So I picked him up, and he's Turkish. We were talking. He was like, the longest word in the Turkish language is like a 2-minute conversation. Turkish is extremely difficult. Arabic is actually easier than Turkish. Turkish is a suffix language. So every time you make a change to a word, you add letters to the end of it. So this word that he was talking about, which it takes you 2 minutes to say, is just a bunch of things that have been added, a bunch of adjectives, a bunch of whether it's a question, not a question, whether it's in the past, whatever the tense is. So yeah, all of that gets added to the end of the word. What does Yobo Sayo mean? Also makes you colorblind? Dang. Palm frites are simply French fries. Okay, there you go. You would know. You got the Moroccan, so you speak French. You should speak French. Where's the NFL international game this coming season? Um, don't know. I have to look into that. I thought they were going to Germany. I don't know if they're doing that this season. Arabic has so many. I'm talking about Fusha, logo to Fusha. Um, Cause that Moroccan Arabic, bro. When I was in Morocco, sitting in this dude's living room, and he's talking to me, and I was just smiling and nodding. I had zero idea where to start, where to begin, nothing. Hopefully they don't give the international game to the Lions. Hell, if it's a one of these away games, please, because our away schedule is rough. English, Arabic, French, and Spanish. Um, that's what's up. I speak English to fluency. Everything else that I speak is not fluent. Um, I can get around with Arabic, but after living over there for 15 years, I should be fluent. But when you're teaching English, nobody wants to speak to you in Arabic. They just want to speak to you in English. Yeah, it's a 2 minute word. It's you're having a conversation with yourself. I could just imagine hearing that word and being like, okay, it's a hot. He's spitting a hot 16 right now. Like, just let me. How do I respond to this? Uh, I speak Negropian. Oh, I have to try that on somebody. Yes, the great Negropian. The great Negropian king Joffrey Joe is. Yes, he's my great 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 grandfather. Yes. Andy Vonix. I remember when they tried to make that a thing, like an official language. Um, yeah, like Detroit and Washington. Just put that in Germany. Um, English takes you anywhere. It does. What up, though, Kyle Ramos? Um, Yobo Sayo, is it? It's like I just had to learn one word, lovey dovey stuff. He was just like, forget a one liner. He was a one worder. He was like, Chagia. Oh my goodness. Like Creole, like Cajun, like Jamaican patois. I wanted to learn Jamaican patois so bad because I just love the accent, bro. And they just the way that they speak is just so. It's like slang for everything. Ebonics is yeah, it's a jargon that you can say, but they try to like was it the late 90s, the mid 90s, they tried to basically teach it in California as a part of the curriculum. Like they tried to make it like really a language, which is how do you teach Ebonics? Just like when we were talking about Arabic, like, okay, I'm just going to teach Arabic slang. Okay, well, where do you come from? Which dialect do you use? Right? Do you use the Gulf dialect? Do you use uh, the northern African dialect? Like, what dialect do you use to teach this off brand of Arabic? Like, what dialect are you using? So I guess them being in California, they would have used the Californian Ebonics. It was wild. It was a wild proposal. Um, did I see the Shaq question to K on TNT interview this week? Yeah, I saw it. Gula Geechee. Yeah, it's a. But the crazy thing, that's what I'm saying. It was the crazy thing is they were trying to make it like an actual thing. It's like that. That's nah. Cause it's some stuff like It's some stuff you can say from California, and we would not know what the hell you talking about. You know, how do you teach Izzle Kizzle? What is that? Like some of it is self explanatory. For shizzle my nizzle, for shizzle my nizzle. We used to dribble down the VA, like that. That's self. Yeah, Egyptian Arabic. Like I said, my wife is half Egyptian, so I Zayik, Zayik, yeah, Captain. um, all right. This has been a great conversation, man. Great fun. I think it was a way of saying it was a way to reach the black community because we leave our words when we talk. I got it. Like I got what they were trying to do. It was just you know I don't know. Obviously, it never caught on. Right? Didn't think it was great. I think I was in high school at the time. Just I was like, what are we doing? All good, TM. Uh, Let me see. Tefna. All right. I'll remember that one. Leave out. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I mean, even still, if you're teaching it in an academic setting, like we make up words on the fly. You know what I'm saying? So now what do? You're not prepared for that. But if I make up a word on the fly, um, if you understand the way that we speak, then you understand my meaning of the word, right? Right. So if I, that's what I'm saying. Like it just wasn't a good idea. Purdue is 72 to 45. Bro, I don't remember the last time I watched college basketball. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it, but it never caught on. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you can't figure out for sure, like and obviously it's you would know that just by the person's body language, it's in agreement with whatever you're saying. Like if someone's like, "Hey man, I really love cheesecake," you're like, "Oh, for sure," right? Like I think the person that loves cheesecake would be able to understand that you are also a lover of cheesecake. um, what up though has various meanings by inflection. Yeah, you like to hear it the way that I said. Cause if somebody be like, "What up though?" Like, okay, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? It's a problem. You know what I'm saying? What up though? And they look you up and down like, I'm about to get shot. uh, we got the culture. Um, you good? Also, yeah, it does. Nah, you good? You good? Yeah, I mean, it's like again, if you're working from a textbook, right? If you're working from a textbook meaning of what up though, right? Then someone uses the inflection, you're like, oh, this guy's trying to say hello. No, he's not. He's not. No, he's not trying to say hello. Get out of there, Tim. Get out of there. uh cool to meet Detroiters out of state and say what up though. I don't I don't there's a guy that's here who's from Detroit. He goes to my gym. I don't speak to him. He is, remember that movie You Got Served? He's straight out of You Got Served. He be dancing around the gym and be in the mirror. I'm like, I'm not speaking to him. I don't want him to know I'm from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Jets, Browns, Jags playing London for international games. Are there no outside of London like they had in Brazil this year? I think basically the rule of thumb is anybody that says anything where they look agitated in the least bit, you know it's not about to be good. Don't blame you, but went on vacay for B. Yeah. I did not see a reference to Brazil. So they're just sticking with because they generally try to. I know if they ever have an NFL game in Australia, that would be cool. Um, unless it's in Sydney, then I would have to like travel to Sydney, which I don't want to do. But I mean, they have the Australian Open down here now, um, and it's packed down there. I was down there yesterday unwillingly. um, who here speaks Portuguese? Not I, said the cat, the Motor City cat. There's a few people from Detroit that I met in El Paso, and I give them the what up though and the upward head nod and keep it moving. I'm not that one dude. Like I said, he's straight out of You Got Served. He be walking down the gym like, I mean, like, what? Okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? All right, you do you. And it's like other people told me, they're like, "Oh, do you know Daniel?" I'm like, "No, who's that?" "Oh yeah, he's from Detroit. He wears the hat and the dude." I was like, "He's from Detroit." I thought he was African, so I stood like me and my son were on the court one day, and we were in there, and he was over there dancing in the corner. So we just kind of went over like towards him, and we're just trying to listen for something he said. And my son was like, "Yeah, yeah, he's American." I was like, "Okay, crap." Abort, abort. It's a lot of Detroiters in Dallas. I could bet I can understand that. Football American. uh, go CR7. Don't let my son hear you say that. I mess with him. I tell him Messi's the GOAT all the time. He gets mad. Met a stripper from Detroit in Wichita Falls. She danced to feel like a number. All right, Mr. Morale. All All right, you guys. I am going to also get out of here. It has been great chatting with you guys, hanging out. Like I said, man, if y'all just brainstorm some things for the memberships, I don't want to just have memberships where it's just about you supporting me and you paying me. I want to be able to give back to you guys for the higher tier memberships. Um, you know, probably capping them off at like $10 a month for the highest tier, and then we'll take that and put it in a prize pool or merch giveaways, things of this nature. So make sure you do your brainstorming, put together some ideas in the Discord. Let me know. But as always, the Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out of y'all. Peace.